All right, here we are back for episode 73 of Digital Divination. Jason, I hope you had a great holiday.
I did, John. It was pretty good. How was yours?
It was nice. It's traditionally for us, we kind of visit with our family, and we
Hmm.
did that on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, and played some cards, ate lots of food, watched Elf and the Grinch, and
Good, good, good.
that's pretty much
Yeah,
what we do. What about
yeah.
you?
I've got my wife's sister just came into town
Oh
yesterday
yeah, you
afternoon.
mentioned that. Yeah,
But before that, we had like a couple days off before the weekend.
right.
We did a jigsaw puzzle. We usually do one jigsaw puzzle
Yeah.
per year. We get ourselves a jigsaw puzzle and we do
Hmm.
it.
Hmm.
We happen to have one from left over, so we did that one before. It was a Charlie Brown Christmas one.
Right.
So that was nice and easy. We did that one. And then Sunday morning, Christmas morning, we usually get the traditional gifts for the dogs, and
Yep.
then and for the squirrels this year as well.
Okay.
I would
You have pet
I wrapped
squirrels?
walnuts. I wrapped no, not really. I mean, yes and no.
Yeah.
I wrapped walnuts into wrapping paper and
Yeah.
feed them to the squirrels. But
Nice.
so I got a new puzzle this year.
Mhm.
It's a mystery puzzle, which means you don't really know what it is. So,
Oh,
and the
wow.
conceit of this mystery puzzle is that you get this. There's an image on the front cover, and you're trying to piece together what everyone in that image is looking at. Essentially,
Oh, right,
so it's this
right.
big cartoon of a
Yeah.
gingerbread house competition. It's people like falling over. Oh, what are they looking at? There's
Mhm.
gingerbread spilling all over that. So we open that up, and inside, didn't think anything of it at the time, are two plastic bags. And my wife and I was like, okay, well, I'll pop this one open and pour that out. Well, yeah, I'll pop this one open and pour this out in another box, and we'll start looking for edge pieces together, like we
Right.
always do. We always start that way.
Yeah, yeah.
We realized something was wrong when we found the fifth corner piece between the two groups. Apparently, and then we look at the front of the box, and it says, included inside extra puzzle, an extra 1,000 pieces of the cartoon on the front of the box. And we're like, oh no,
Oh, you didn't mix
had
them, did you?
no, we came
Oh,
very close to.
wow.
Some of the edge pieces got mixed together. So what
Yeah,
had to happen for me to
yeah,
feel sane was
yeah.
to we're now doing two puzzles at the same time on
Wow,
different tables.
wow.
So
That's cool.
I took these edge pieces
Yeah,
and threw them there, and this is
yeah,
the normal one that we know what it looks like at least.
yeah,
So that one should be pretty easy. And then on the main table,
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
regular puzzle. It was so close to being an utter disaster.
Oh. Yeah, I think that's really cool, the mystery puzzle. My wife loves
Mhm.
puzzles, so she always gets one for Christmas, so I always have
Sure,
one
yeah.
working on. Not a huge puzzle fan. I don't
Mhm.
have that kind of patience, I guess,
Mhm.
but she
Okay,
loves
sure, yeah.
doing it, and then every once in a while I put some in. But what's really neat, I don't know if you have one of these. Do you have a
Mhm.
puzzle board?
No, actually, we don't. But I used to have one. I'll tell you that.
Yes, yes, then I know what to get you for a gift next time.
Thank you. All right, fair enough.
Well, she's got one, and she got one for each of her sisters because it's just awesome to have a puzzle you're working on and be able to put it away someplace high or
Mm,
something
yeah,
rather than leave it on the table all the time, which is what we usually do. So
yeah,
you can
yeah,
move
yeah.
it around, right? And
Is
I was
it a
actually
roll-up one, or is it some
she
other
doesn't
thing?
she doesn't have a roll up one. It has a like a plastic cover that goes over it,
Oh, okay, fair enough. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
kind of to keep it. But I was thinking, I was running a game last Sunday, and I had all my maps out and everything,
Hmm.
and I realized I need a puzzle board to put these on so that I don't have to like roll them up and put them away each time.
There you
I
go.
take
Yeah,
them off the table, so I'm or something like that. So
yeah,
I think I might look for something like that.
yeah.
A 24 by 36 puzzle board.
I mean,
So
they might make them.
yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know either. I don't know either. Yeah. Well, great. Well, that's exciting. So you have any other plans before the new year? You gonna do anything?
No, not really. Just doing games and stuff.
Yeah.
Just hanging out. What about
Yeah.
you?
Well, we'll go up to Camino and
Okay.
some family there and hang out. I've had some requests to do some smoke meats, so I'll
All
be
right.
probably doing a brisket and a pork shoulder.
Okay.
And each of those, like one's for my sister's family. Each of those will last like a week of eating, right?
Mm,
If you're a
mhm.
meat eater like us, right? They have quite a bit. But otherwise, watching football. That's this week coming up for the next, a week and a half is prime football time, watching time. So I'll be doing a lot of
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
And I have to
Cool.
write. I have to write. I don't know if I told you I have a writing project that I have to work on. I think I did.
You may
offline.
have mentioned it. Yeah, you may have
Yeah,
mentioned it. Yeah, it sounds
and
familiar.
has an outline due on the second. So I
Mm,
need.
okay, there you go.
I'm like I'm over halfway done with the total word count. I just need to
Oh,
organize it into a real
yeah,
outline because
sure.
um, just writing is probably not what they want. They probably want an outline too. So
Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah.
I should go that.
There's there's one little thing I want to finish before the new year
Oh,
for a
oh yeah,
personal
yeah, yeah.
project, but it's maybe another 500 words. Not a whole lot.
Oh yeah, yeah. Very good. All right. Well, when we last saw our heroes, that's us.
Oh,
We had talked about our favorite spells,
yeah.
and we're going into our favorite magic items this time.
Hmm.
And as we were talking beforehand, um, I picked 5 pure magic items that I was
Right.
interested in, and then you mentioned that you might have some hybrid items in the mix.
That's true. I did come into this with some rules that I gave myself.
Yes. Yes.
So Starfinder has hybrid items, magic items, technological
Right.
items, and other things that are maybe could be magic, but I don't know.
Mhm,
But I said magic items and hybrid items were fine, but I
mhm.
didn't look at weapon fusions, and I
Yes. I
didn't
think it's.
think about serums at all.
Oh
I think
yeah.
just set
Neither
those
did I. I
aside.
think that's a
And
good
just sort
point.
of, they're because they're for the weapon fusions, that's sort of like real core stuff. This
Right.
stuff you kind of need. Same with serums, it's healing and other sort
Mhm.
of fun little bonuses, but nothing like mind-numbingly exciting.
Well, I do think. I mean, there's a lot of serums and stuff now, but I do think though for weapon fusions and armor upgrades, I think
Hmm.
those are things that we should talk about. And the
Oh,
reason
sure,
why I
yeah,
bring it up, and the reason why I think actually magic items is cool, and even with hybrids in there, is because you have a limit of 2 worn magic items,
yeah,
right? That you can
yeah.
use. Now I'm going to cheat, and one of mine is a magic item, but it's not a worn magic item, but it's in there for a reason.
Yeah, I don't think any of
Uh,
mine are worn. I don't. Maybe no,
oh,
one of them is worn. One of them, yeah.
okay. But when we look at weapon fusions, there's only so many fusions you can put on a weapon, depending on
Yeah.
the weapon level. So there's a kind of a limit. Picking is important. And then the same with armor upgrades. I think
Hmm.
like right now I have a level 18 character. We're going through Devastation arc. And I think the armor I have has 6 upgrade slots, which is really, really cool.
Whoa, very nice.
But I have more than 6 slots worth of stuff I want to put in there. So picking and
Fair.
choosing,
Yeah.
I think, the scarcity of being able to fill everything you want, I think makes it more important to think about what you're doing. And
Oh yeah.
so anyway, so I'll start this time. And Ryan made a comment that we count differently. We're counting 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's what both of us
Yeah.
are doing. But I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
I say is I say, oh, my first one. Well, that means the fifth when I say that.
Okay. Fair enough.
The
Yeah. Yeah.
first one I'm going to talk about, number 5 on my
Number
list.
5 on the countdown.
Number
Yeah.
5 on my list. And this actually comes from I think I also listed this as my favorite Starfinder adventure. So this comes from Starfinder 1, the incident at Absalon Station.
Hmm.
And my favorite thing, and in part because this is like one of the first magic items we encountered, but I think it's pretty cool. And I've used it a lot in society play and everything. And they're falcon boots.
Ooh.
So, you know what they are.
Yeah,
I'll
they sound
explain it.
vaguely familiar.
Okay.
Please do.
Okay. So with falcon boots, you can change with a move action your own personal local gravity such
Mm.
that it's perpendicular to the normal surface that you would have to support yourself. So you can go from being up and down to now being horizontal.
Hmm.
Oh, you can even be upside down and run
Okay.
around and do everything as if that's your normal gravity. And
Cool.
early on, so this is like a level 1 thing, and in society play when you're relatively low and you can't fly, you can
Mm.
climb places. That's a little tough. But man, having these and be able to like go all the way up a building on the side to get a, up position or do other things to bring a rope or whatever for people, made it very, very convenient. And I still have a player who's, has a higher level character. He still uses these as a sniper to get in position. He just
Yeah.
loves having them. The downside is every time you change your personal gravity, so going from up and down to the perpendicular position, that's a move action. So that costs you some, that move
Mm.
action to get into that initial ability to do that sort of thing. But
Yeah.
that's the 5th of my top 5 favorite ones.
Is that in the article about the sort of artifacts of Galarian?
I think it is, yeah. I think
Yeah, I
it's
think
in the
that's the
back
one
of
that
that.
has magic items like Blade and
Yeah, and it actually shows up
Thorax Anvil.
later.
Hmm.
It shows up later in the whole adventure path, so it's not actually in that book. That's kind of where it's
Okay.
referenced. It's
Okay.
when you are with the Kishali, if you remember that? That's where
Oh,
we
I
found it.
wrote that.
Yeah,
Do I
yeah,
remember that? Do I
yeah, okay.
did
S
I
so the
okay.
Falcon boots
Wow.
show up in there. Oh, should I give a spoiler? You know those
Hmm.
things, the baboon dog mix things? I
Mhm.
have no idea what they're called. What are they called?
Eohais.
The
They're called
Ojais.
Eohai.
It
Mhm.
shows up somewhere with them.
That sounds I put that in that adventure. I must have because,
Okay,
I
well,
remember
shoot.
where I put them from. Yeah, from the Eos. I guess that's interesting because they are Galarian it's a Galarian artifact showing up on a
Oh,
different planet.
yeah, they're level 5.
Weird.
It's a level 5 thing. Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't realize that. I guess I didn't realize they were an artifact.
Well, an
Yeah,
artifact. There just was
yeah,
in the
yeah,
article was
Galarian
called
item. Yeah, that shows up
yeah,
somehow.
sort of because
Yeah,
it's related to I just looked it up. It's related to the Eagle Knights of Taldor and all that
right,
stuff.
right,
But
right. Yeah, so
like
that's
maybe they're
really
just sort
weird.
of yeah.
Yeah,
And they
I'm
didn't have a
pretty
whole lot of
sure.
stuff to put
Yeah,
in as treasure
yeah,
early on, right? So writing that, yeah.
but I'm pretty sure they show
Um,
up in that book. That's right, aren't they in that
I'm gonna,
book?
I don't
Yeah,
remember. I'm gonna have to look that up.
yeah,
They show up in the first volume of the
right.
Adventure Map, not in
In
the,
terms of
but then
describing
show
it,
up as
yeah.
treasure. Yeah,
Yeah, but I thought that's when we got him was in that book. Anyway, so
could be,
that's
could
my
be.
that's my number 5, and it's connected with something you did, so that's kinda cool.
Yeah, amazing,
Yeah.
amazing. The vaguely also reminding me of I'm playing through the Marvel Spider-Man games.
Yes.
And that's just he just walks up walls and
Yeah,
goes on
yeah,
the
yeah,
ceiling and just sort of normal stuff. It's pretty cool.
yeah.
Alright, my, 5th item is a very utilitarian one, but I do like it. It's the charge cloak. Basically, it's a core
Oh,
rulebook
yes,
thing,
I was thinking
right?
about that one.
You wear it and it just lets you charge. It just so feels very Starfinder-y to me that
Yes,
it's just this
yes,
cloak and then it crackles electricity, but you can only use it to charge batteries.
right,
And so, well, it doesn't let you sort of put it to charge into the batteries, but like once a day or something like that,
right,
you can shoot a gun that may be out of bullets or out of charges on your battery as if it were charged because you wrap the cloak around it or something. It doesn't really explain what it does, how it works, but it
right.
is something that's kind of just again utilitarian and I don't know, just kind of how our headspace was at the very beginning of the game, just stuff we
Yeah,
needed, to have to for inches that isn't just a sort of a retread of something that already existed in
mhm,
Pathfinder
mhm.
First Edition, right? So that's my number 5. Not much to talk about there.
Nice. Yeah. Um, ooh, I don't like the charge cloak.
Fair.
You want me to tell you
So
why?
you can tell me why. I mean, I mean, I can
Yeah.
see why it might not be as it's a first level item. It could be more
No,
interesting,
it's
but
great because
yeah,
it's first level and you get it,
yeah.
and it's only because I always use the backup generator early on,
Oh yeah, that's a good one
right?
too.
So it basically takes an armor slot. Again, it's like a
Yeah.
first level item, and you can charge up a battery with that as you're moving and stuff. And so the main reason is that I actually think that it's cheaper. How much does the charge cloak cost?
200.
Oh, yeah, it might be about the same. But anyway, so that's what I've always used. I never use a charge cloak because
Fair
that's
enough.
that's what I used in
Yeah.
the past. So yep.
It just got for me more
Yeah.
land, more style. Like I mean, if you don't,
Oh yeah,
if you're a magic user, for instance, you might not have an armor that can
right.
take a backup
Exactly.
generator, right? Now you got
Right.
this thing, but you still might need a gun.
Yeah.
So
No, it's
anyway,
a very good magical kind of thing for doing it. And
yeah,
and
yeah.
I didn't really say you think as a developer, you think differently about stuff than I do. So I'm thinking more as a player, and that's kind of where my things are coming from. When I got it, when I used it, why I liked it so
Hmm.
much. It's not the
Yeah,
best in class kind of thing, but I thought it was
sure.
very useful at the time. And so that goes to my number 4 one.
Hmm.
At least let me make sure that's number 4. Yeah. Number 4 one. And they are it's a ferocity blazon. You know what that is?
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
Okay. I'm pulling these out.
Should be looking this up.
Out of the
Yeah,
millions of things. Yeah, I know
a lot
you're
of
not going to
stuff.
know everything. Um, and I like this because I was playing an envoy at the time, and I saw this. I think it was it's in the armory, but we were
Hmm.
playing against somebody that had one NPC that had one of these. And
Okay.
so it's basically it's a worn, it has to be worn prominently, and
Mhm.
it doubles the duration of your intimidate or demoralize check. So it's a level 6
Okay.
item. So you got to be a little bit higher level. But if your thing, and this is my character's thing, was for demoralizing folks, right? Well, this doubles the effect. And so there's a couple different ways you can extend the range. So if you beat the DC by 5, that extends it by another round. And then
Mm.
on top of that, if you get to double it, all of a sudden your
Mm.
1 or 2 rounds gets to be, oh, that's 2 to 4 or 6.
Mhm.
And so as a worn item, again, looking at what worn items I can get, level 6, for me as an envoy, this was super great. And now Scott, who's been playing envoys in our actual plays for 4 years now, I told him about
Mm.
this, so he always has one, and so I just
Nice.
assume all his rolls are doubled because of that.
That's
That's
pretty
my
cool.
second one. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. That does. I was just looking up, and it vaguely sounded familiar, and there it is. Um, my number 4 is just something that's I don't know. Like, I don't know. Again, not know if it's useful. It's something I kind of like. I don't know if it, from a designer point of view, I don't know if it comes
Mhm.
from that way, but it's just something that I thought would be fun
Mhm.
to talk about. Is Starship in a Bottle,
Yes. Oh,
which
that's
is
so cool.
from AP number 16. And this one works is that it's just a miniature starship in a bottle that you keep
Mhm.
in your starship. And then, sort of in between fights, generally, it's not something you can use in a starship combat. You can basically transfer the damage to your starship from your starship to the starship inside the starship in the bottle, heal your starship up, and just like the way they sort of think about how the starship in the bottle gets all beat up because your starship
Right.
is all beat
Right.
up.
Right.
And then you can also just sort of then use maybe smaller spells to sort of keep the starship in the bottle healed up, and so it's less stuff.
Oh, I thought it was gonna work more like Dorian Gray, and keep it
I
hidden.
mean, it does a little
Can't say.
bit, but it doesn't. You can
Yeah.
um uh uh uh, uh you can cast mending or make whole on the
Right.
starship in the bottle,
Yeah.
but when you do that, I don't know why this is in there exactly, even though I'm pretty sure I developed this item. But when you do that, you take hit point damage equal
Oh,
to how
okay.
much you hold because it creates a weird. So it's not so easy to just
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
heal your starship up, right? Because that usually
Yeah.
takes UPBs and time, right? But in
Right.
this case, you just sort of boop, 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 boop. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's cool. I've actually never used. I've seen it. I've read about it,
Hmm.
but I didn't really know. I didn't remember it worked that way until you mentioned it. I was actually thinking more along the lines it was going to be like, in case of emergency, break
Oh,
pot. So your ship is basically destroyed and you need to get away. So
get away.
it's like rather than an escape pod, you have an escape ship.
That
Yeah.
might have been. I might have a vague memory about how that might have been how it started as the idea it
Yeah.
started as, but that got very complicated very fast.
Oh,
Like,
I'm sure.
what
Yes.
starship is it?
Yeah.
Like, because there's something to say, like, like a vehicle, like, I think there's something called like motor pods or motor orbs or something like that, where
Yeah.
you can just like, Psh, and here's a motorcycle. You can say, here are the
Right.
stats for that motorcycle. They're in this book, and you can drive them. Here's an intercycle, right? When you
Right.
say you get a starship, it's like, well, they can be built in a million different ways. And I guess you could point to one
Right.
that exists, one of like the shuttlecrafts or something like that.
Right.
But
Right.
it was
That's what I was
just,
thinking. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Cool. Where did the Starship in the Bottle? Where did that show up at?
that's an AP number 16. There's a article in there, written by Leo Glass, actually, that
Hmm.
is like weird stuff. It's just a whole bunch. I guess Leo writes some weird things, and he
Yeah.
wrote a bunch
Yeah.
of weird stuff. Some of it's sort of artifact level stuff, but this one is as well. This is all. That's the other article that I wanted to. This is something that I wanted to put in, but I don't think it's a magic item. I think it counts as like a personal item or something like that. Which
Yeah.
is, of
Yeah.
course, the Replenigel multivitamin,
Right. Oh yeah. Yeah.
which is
I've
a
seen that.
giant gummy
Yes.
skittermender that you have to chow
Yes.
down on. Yeah.
Yeah. He actually mentioned that, I think, when I interviewed him, when I asked him
Mm,
about stuff. So
yeah, yeah.
no, that's cool. I'm actually going to see Leo tomorrow. So that's cool. I'll have
Well,
to
so I said hi.
tell him that we talked about this.
Yeah.
All right. My number 3. Now you'll probably like this one more. It's much more Starfinder things. And this is kind of very utilitarian.
Mhm.
They're energy relay gloves. They're from the armory. And
Okay.
basically it allows you to change the damage type of that you're doing. It's not the
Right.
base damage, but it's all the additional damage,
Mhm.
right? That you do. So not the base weapon damage, but like your ability add-ons, other modifiers and stuff like that, to a different type, but you kind of have to select it ahead of time, right?
Mm.
So you buy energy relay gloves that make it acid or cold, electricity,
Okay,
fire, or
sure, yeah.
sonic. So if you have a like, when we went through Dead Suns, we had all this fire damage stuff that kept dropping.
Mm.
Not Dead Suns, Dawn of Flame. Dawn of Flame.
Oh, yeah,
Everything's
yeah,
like
yeah.
all this fire damage stuff dropping, and then we're going against all these fire immune creatures. So
Oh, yeah.
energy relay gloves would have been great to convert that to cold or
Right,
something
yeah.
like that. But
True.
that I like them a lot. I think they're very utilitarian. Again, level 6, so kind of moderate level to get them. But they're one of the things that I like to get for my characters all the time. And I think they're one of the things that you can either, you can have them count as a worn magic item or install them in an upgrade slot in your armor.
Oh,
So
great.
they're kind of versatile like that. So that is my number 3.
Okay, cool. I mean, yeah, I think you probably, if you picked like something like Sonic all
Mhm.
the time, like there's not a ton of stuff that's like
Right,
completely immune to Sonic. And if it is, you've got the original damage type. It
right.
probably is gonna be normal. Yeah, definitely be cool. My number 3 is from Galactic Magic. It is something. I don't know why I picked this one fully exactly. I just sort of like the idea of it.
Okay.
It's the Sweet Dream Bot, which is it's my first hybrid item. It
Okay.
is a magic uh, Teddy Ruxpin essentially. It's a plushie. It has some magic in it. It's got some other technology in it that helps you have sweet dreams, and it also records your nightmares.
Wow.
In case you when it's meant for they say it's meant for children, but people who
Mhm.
go out into the depths of space use it because madness lies out there and stuff like that. And and again, sort of like this is good. It's a very specific thing. Like if you're going up against something that can cast a spell like Nightmare or invade your dreams or whatever, you get one of these, and because it's only a level 1 item, it costs 145 golds because of its
Mhm.
very specific utility. It doesn't need to be very expensive. And then sort of gives you bonus to saves against that kind of stuff.
Nice.
Say
Yeah.
it says will saves made while you're asleep or unconscious. So if there's any other
Oh, wow.
effects out there that do
Yeah,
that, I
yeah.
don't know. But if someone I guess is
Yeah.
trying to charm you or dominate you while
Yeah.
you're sleeping, then you have this little guy protecting you. And just the
Yeah.
idea of having it could look like anything. It probably there's a cute little stuffed Bernary or something. That's
Nice.
adorable.
All right. On to number 2. And this is, as you can tell, most of mine are more practical. I'm thinking as a
Hmm.
player, and this practically. And this is one, even my level 18th character now, I have an 18th level Vanguard that
Mm.
still uses one of these. And so I've,
Hmm.
I've liked them for a long time. The lower level one is a level 5, the higher level is level 9. But let me tell you what it is. It's a diffraction cloak.
Oh,
So
yeah, those are good.
so it bends light around you, basically enables you to do a reroll on cou- 2 different types of rerolls. So somebody does cold, electricity, fire, or force effect damage on you.
Mm.
If they do an attack roll, you can use one of the charges in your
Hmm.
diffraction cloak to cause them to have to do a reroll, which
Hmm.
is really sweet if they've critted you. Um, the
Definitely.
other thing is, if you fail a savings throw against such damage, you can then re-roll it as well. And so my level 18th character has a Mark II, which is 2 re-rolls in a 24-hour period. And
Mm.
I've only ever had to really use one, because
Hmm.
you got to be really critical stuff to do it.
Mm.
Um,
Sure.
but I really like it. Lower levels, the level 5 one's pretty good, and I could probably, the level 9 one's only 12,500 credits. I'm sure I could probably get the Mark III, but for me,
Mm.
the price goes up way higher,
Yeah.
when you go
Yeah.
from a Mark II to 3 just for that additional roll. So, and that's one of the things I need to figure out is the scaling. I've created items before,
Mm.
whole bunch of them, and I just kind of go
Yeah.
by the current scaling for things. I've never actually plotted out the scale to see how that increases. That would be interesting
And
to see.
it sure it does. I
Yes.
know that much. Like it
Yeah.
just ramps up. I'm sure there was some spreadsheets going around
Yes.
about
Yeah, I'm
how
sure
that
there are.
worked.
I probably should have asked for one before, but I just kind of winged it. So
Fair enough. Yeah.
that's
Do
my
you? I
number
mean,
2. Yeah.
When you find yourself having something like that, that is, I only get 2 rerolls a day. How like, and you said you've only ever used really 1 most. Like, do you find yourself like just not having the opportunity to, or do you feel like, oh, I only have 2, I better save them until it's really really important, and then the adventuring day is over.
It's the latter. So
Hmm.
oftentimes it'll be when we're been in a battle for a long time and I'm
Hmm.
crit big time. So
Hmm.
that's one, right?
Yeah,
Because that could really
yeah.
take me down. And then, and for my Vanguard, savings, so reflex saves are one of the things I'm bad at.
Hmm.
Um, the flip side is I have other ways to mitigate damage, and so that's why
Yeah,
I don't use it a lot. Um, but now we're coming across stuff that does 12d12 damage. Um, yeah, sometimes I'm thinking if it's going to be really big, then I'll use it.
yeah.
But at the higher levels, I'm in adventure paths, and oftentimes we have days before we do the next thing too. So a whole bunch of big battles, and then we can
Yeah.
go rest up somewhere. So that's more. It's kind of the mechanics what we're how we're going through the adventure that enables
Mm-hmm.
me to use it less. But yeah, if it's a really big deal, I'll use this. I also have a lot of other ways to mitigate, though.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah.
I was curious to know what people do with their resources when they're
Right.
playing
Oh
their
yeah, yeah,
characters. Like, yeah, how you save that much stuff up, or do you just sort of
yeah.
like, I got it, I might as well use it. All right.
Well, when I first started
Go ahead.
using these in society play, again, this is
Mhm.
level 9 items, so I have my characters. You can have them pretty readily. I would use both of them, in during the scenario because
Sure.
typically you're not going to have that many big fights or that many big
Yeah, yeah,
traps,
exactly.
and you kind of
Yeah,
know. Yeah.
makes sense. My number 2 is from Armory as well. And it is the teleportation puck.
Mm,
I just
that's
like the
what I
way
was
this
looking at
works.
too.
Yeah, I just like the way this works. It's just a fun little, I mean, it's literally a puck that you can shoot somewhere, just kinda toss it to the other side of the room, and then you can teleport through it. Basically, it's basically kind of like, having a sort of a dimension door ability in an item, but essentially, it is a little more, you've gotta target a space and chuck it more than you can, just sort of click yourself over to a place, and then you can bring people with you. That's pretty good, and, all the other stuff of, if you're pucking into a
Mhm.
solid body, you take some damage.
Right. Right.
That kind of stuff. Yeah.
Nice.
But it also, it's not something you need to use instantly too, right? Like
Mhm.
maybe something like a dimension door in a bottle sort of situation, you
Right.
might
Right. That's
turn over. But
exactly
this is just
how
like
I like them. Yeah.
whoosh, and then you're like, well, now it's over there. And I essentially, I don't. So as I was looking at this, I realized probably why I thought it was interesting, or maybe why it exists, is that it's very reminiscent of something in a video game, a very specific video game, and
Yes.
that video game is Overwatch.
Okay.
There's a character called Sombra who has this sort of ability. She throws a thing,
Yeah.
and whenever she wants to, she can teleport back to it, and then have it and throw it again, essentially. And a lot of people
Mhm.
use it to kind of like get themselves up, like chuck something up high in the air, teleport high in
Right.
the air, and they can get up into spaces they wouldn't normally get. High level movement powers basically are pretty cool. So yeah, that's another way too. You could use it to get up some space where maybe you don't want to climb. If you can chuck it up there high enough,
Mhm.
there you go.
Mhm. Yeah. No, I think that's a pretty versatile one, and our party has like a handful of those in our
Ooh,
um
handful. Nice.
yeah, well, I mean like 3 or 4 probably going through devastation arc, so high level.
Mm.
I
Hmm.
don't know that we've ever used them, because
Fair
we
enough.
always fly to get to places, and
Yeah.
but if you're really stuck somewhere, like that you can't get out of, then I think it gives you a little bit some flexibility with that. So like a dimension door in a bottle. That's what I like to think about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically,
So I was actually thinking more like a dimension door grenade, but it's the same thing. Yeah.
it's a little
Yeah.
bit like that. Yeah. 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 I mean, you could use it offensively. It looks
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
the thing you're teleporting into takes damage too. You can try to
Yeah.
telefrag
Yeah.
someone,
Yeah.
but you take way more damage than they do.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
a it's a risky business.
Right. All right. So my number one of all these things is the only
Hmm.
one I haven't used on any of my characters, in
Okay.
part because I don't have any characters 20th level.
Mm.
And so it's an artifact,
Hmm.
20th level artifact. but it happens to one that I wrote for Galactic Magic. And
Okay.
I alluded to this our last episode. In my actual play, we had one of our players is named Jill Koshti, and he was a Vest soldier, and he used the Doshko. And Honor Bringer is a six-bladed Doshko-like weapon that basically the Emperor of the Viscarium, that's like his weapon kind of thing.
Mhm.
And this is just like a weapon on overkill, and it has some really cool special effects. Like when you're wielding it, you can inspire frenzy in other people, kind of like
Mm.
causing them to go to berserk and doing things. It has to be used certain ways. Which there's certain things that can cause it to be destroyed. Um, so for example, if it's kind of used um,
Yeah.
if it disgraces the Viscarium, like the Emperor uses to
Mhm.
disgrace the Viscarium, could cause it to shatter in many pieces and stuff like that. So, I really like making this thing because I wanted to make a really cool, super powerful weapon that when you got
Yeah.
up that level, you could use it. But this is the kind of it's like in D&D, like the Hammer of Thunderbolts. This should be a one of a kind weapon, end game weapon that
Yeah.
not everybody's going to be able to have and stuff. But I really had a lot of fun, and as I mentioned, I this was inspired by my friend, and I actually gave him a copy of Galactic Magic and wrote in here, "I made this for you." So now he has that to see that. So that's my number one favorite magic item. It's an artifact, so it's not a war magic item, but it's a magic item.
Yeah, we're not. It's a magic item. It's magic. It's magic. It's a cool magic weapon that
Yes.
lets you do a bunch of good murders. Yeah. Hey, I know that's good. That's the story. Up there with the your
Yeah.
Holy Avengers and like you said, Hammer of
Yeah.
Thunderbolts. Really good high level artifact. Delicious. My number one does have one of those. It's a bunch of tiers situation, so
Yeah.
maybe it's cheating, but I don't know. I like it. And also hybrid item, and it's the software imp.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's again sort of fun. I don't know. It's just kind of more. It just kind of like feels Starfindery, right? It's basically a sort of a malicious AI that virus that you can put into a computer to mess things up. But it also just it's got a little magic to it, right? Because it's got its own sort of semi sentience.
Hmm. Hmm.
It becomes an artificial personality on the computer. It's like if I installed like an Alexa or a Siri onto your computer, but Alexa and Siri was a jerk. And so it's like when
Yeah.
when you put it on someone's, it seems like something you may not get a lot of use out of in an actual campaign, maybe. But if
Yeah.
you've got a recurring villain whose place you can kind of break into and put it in the computer, you can kind of
Yeah.
drive them up the wall. Basically, it does what you ask, but it does it in the most unhelpful way possible.
Right. Right.
It's
Right.
kind of like got that sort of genie curse going on there.
Yeah.
It'll misdirect you and all sorts of things. And then you've got to, you gotta hack your battle. In a lot of ways, this is maybe more of a GM item to use against players.
Right.
So maybe
Right.
that's why I like
Right.
it.
Yeah, it's in society play. I've seen it in some
Mm.
scenarios, at least one scenario. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that's kind of
That the PCs have had to overcome.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
then they
Then that
get
makes
it,
sense.
and
Yeah,
so then they can give it to a nemesis if they want.
yeah, exactly.
So,
I mean, that's the sort of thing that
yeah,
yeah. It's maybe not something you would buy because you need this credits for sort of more important stuff. But like if
right.
you get it and you find it and you don't sell it and you be like, oh, this could be just a fun prank to play on, or not a prank, but
Hmm.
just
Hmm.
just downtime activity against some terrible person and just to distract them long enough to maybe do something else, right?
Cool. Well, I got to say that I think it's interesting. Again, we have
So
different
yeah, we
five
do.
for different.
Hmm.
All of them have been different.
All of them.
But your teleportation puck was like one of my would be my honorable mentions, and
Unmentioned,
also the
cool.
first one that you mentioned, which now I don't remember. What was the first one that you mentioned?
The charge cloak.
Yeah, the charge cloak. So those
Yeah.
would be like two of the ones I would have considered for honorable mentions. Did you have any others that you thought?
Um. No, no. I don't know. No, it's sort of tricky picking out ones that I, kind of like. I mean, there's some stuff that I was like, oh yeah, these are always fun and cool. Like, the usual sort of, oh yeah, plasma beads, a necklace of plasma. That's our necklace of fireballs. That's fun to chuck stuff.
Yeah, I saw that one too, and I thought, oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's that one's more fun in second edition though. So you don't have
Fair
many things
enough.
that blow up a lot like that.
That's true, that's true. You need that
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
Yeah. Starfinder's full of stuff that blows up.
yeah, yeah. Well, cool. So I really like these top 5 things. I don't
That's good
think they're
fun.
necessarily, the most overpowering stuff or things that people must have, but I think they illuminate some stuff that some players might not be know about or might be
Yeah.
interested in. So I'd like to continue with this. I have
Alright.
a suggested topic.
Okay, hit me.
Okay. You mentioned how you didn't think fusions would be something that we should do, but I think we should down the road. How about
Right.
armor upgrades? Because
Alright.
that's something I'm constantly, as you get to higher level, you get more and more armor upgrades choices. And so then
Mm.
you're juggling, which do I
Yeah.
want to put in? And at super high levels, there's some really cool armor upgrades. And
Yeah.
and then some of them take more slots and
Mhm.
and so do you want to do that for next time?
Yeah, I like that. I like that idea.
Very good. Very good. You have plans for New Year's?
No, well, maybe we'll watch a movie with some friends
Yeah.
kinda thing. Nothing we're not going anywhere.
Yeah. We're not gonna we'll probably, like I said, we're gonna be in Camino and then we'll
Mhm.
probably watch something. New Year's Day, we're gaming at my house because that's our normal
Mm.
scheduled day. And so we
Okay.
usually do a potluck. We're doing Horizons of the Vast on every other Sunday.
Mhm.
And so we're gonna it's a kind of a potluck every day, but this will be a more special potluck because it's a New Year's potluck. Go figure
Good.
it. So,
Fun.
all right. Well, this has been great. Great chatting with
Yeah.
you. I hope you have a wonderful New Year coming up.
You too. Have a good continued break and stay relaxed. Well, get your work done. Get that
Yeah,
little
I
work
know. I got to
done
get that down. I can't
and
relax
then
too much.
chill out, relax. Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm John.
And I'm Jason, and this has been Digital Divination.